Welcome back, guys, to Metaphor ReFantazio, where last episode, our final sweep of Grand Trad got underway as our undercover king started through Sunshade Row to reach Sunlumio Street, chatting with Hulkenberg, Alonso, Basilio, Heisme, and Nuris along the way. We now continue up the main thoroughfare of the capital.
I used to meet this old Clamar here. He died about a year ago in the riots. He was so full of himself, always telling me that I was wrong. But you know what? Most other Clamars wouldn't have even bothered speaking with a parapus like me. That man actually treated me like a person. He was a gruff, mean bastard, no question about that, but he wasn't a bad person by any means. Me, I suppose I was fond of him, yeah. I liked our little conversations. Now that he's gone, I miss him. Ah, is that your majesty? What fortune to bump into you at the end of the year like this. If there's anything my humble personage may be able to do for you, your radiance, I am at your service. Say but one glorious word and I shall most happily...
Honestly.
Okay, laying on a bit little thick, aren't we? It's that forked tongue that got you in trouble last time. You hear me? One wrong move and I'm turning you over to Basilio. You've got to turn your life around. Of course. Done with dirty tricks, supposedly. King ran over by cart. More at 11. It is?
Wait a sec.
Isn't that the cat from Academia? That place was made of magic. How was he here in real life? To say nothing of how he could have survived in a deserted ruin buried in the snow. That shouldn't be possible, right? I just think he's cute.
That's a good kitty.
And yet he's never stopped looking cute. Doesn't bother you at all. You sure are something else. If memory serves, the last king did build himself a study in the Mage Academy. Do you think Academia was styled after that, maybe? I wonder what His Majesty, what Moore felt when he put this little guy in Academia. The cat tends to himself quietly, utterly impartial to us. No, take the cat. It's the royal cat now.
My king.
Oh, there you are, Will. Heard you were in town, so I decided to see if we might cross paths. I have so much to tell you about my inspection, so I'm afraid you'll need to clear your diary for me soon. Did you bring any souvenirs, though?
In that case.
Did you bring me back any souvenirs?
Gosh.
Let's just focus on the report. Don't worry, I'll give you just the gist. Firstly,
Well,
the Mage Academy's reconstruction is going swimmingly. Repairs are in full swing, and we're already processing admissions. I must say, I'm still surprised you appointed me, of all people, to be the Academy's headmistress. I was rather looking forward to going back on tour as a songstress. Oh, and shall I introduce you to my furry little friend? I scooped him up in the Academy, of all places. During the reconstruction, they stumbled on the little guy in some kind of observatory, supposedly used by a king long ago. Considering the igniter around his neck, I'm sure he was being taken care of. I mean, there's no way a cat could survive alone in that cold, could he?
so
Regardless, our mysterious kitty is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the Academy. All that knowledge was lost when it fell, so we're starting from scratch. We may even be hiding secrets as big as the Dragon Temple or the Sanctum. Oh, and I'm keeping the cat. Feels like fate, you know.
speaking of which.
And speaking of fate, on my way back, I met up with Myrtus. Ah, she's well, I trust.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
More than well. Her throat has been fine, and she's a fairly prominent singer about town now. We both just keep soaring to new heights, her in music and me coming face to face with magic again.
Hey.
Surely you remember music was the first magic born in this world, yes? When the heart expresses itself through music, it moves the heart of others, and when they make hearts swell, why, there's no end to the magic. So just you watch, with music and magic at my side, I'm going to change the world. All will have equal opportunity to hone their talents in the Mage Academy. Our doors are open to all. That's what my sister would have wanted, and if it makes the world a better place, why, isn't that just grand?
Magic.
Rella taught me that magic is more than a tool. It's in all of us, deep in our hearts. Come here, kitty. DLC in the Mage Academy ruins?
Dear me.
Now, how do you recognize me? How do you feel?
Oh.
An elder. Wait, aren't you His Majesty the King? Why would you be in a place like this? I can't be here.
Ugh, come
Obviously
on,
not. You mock me, Your Majesty. I thought we'd see less of that kind of stuff, but I guess we couldn't expect prejudice against the Eldar to disappear overnight. She sticks to her guns, I guess.
Ain't this a pickle?
At the very least, her sticking to her guns is somewhat admirable, just not her stance. Like, you know,
The prince has become magnificent.
the original thought that she's sticking to, dumb as all heck. To the gallows!
A pickle. Hey.
What's the word, Your Majesty? Just one question, if I may. When are you going to lower the booze prices in this country? I'm only conning you. I haven't felt much like drinking until I black out so often anymore. I still do then. After I ended the tournament, I really went through some stuff. I was acting a fool on the world stage, and to you too. I'm grateful, you know. Can't speak for the rest of the country, but you've done right by us, Parapus. We've got it better than we ever did. Some chuckleheads out there still trying to take their aggression out on us, but they're just venting, probably. I'm sure you do something soon enough.
Ain't this a pickle?
Unfortunately, you kind of have to wait for people to kick the bucket a little bit for a real change to happen as well. It's one of the other, like, hidden... Well, it's the not spoken about openly, but it's also, like, one of the true things of life and progress in society, isn't it? We are usually held up by the elder generations. I say that knowing that I'm coming into being in that category, and it sucks. I'm relieved that the royal palace has returned to its original location. Even now, there's people who can hardly believe that it was flying about, making its way around the entire kingdom. When I saw it with my own eyes, I witnessed the moment the red light within the king's eyes vanished, and the palace returned to the gouged out land it was pulled from. Just plopped back, did it? Chatting with Lady Juna sure was fun. Your Majesty, what business do you have with a former helmsman like me? What about Juna now? I had the honor of attending to her during an expedition. Actually, I think she's on her way to the palace in order to meet with you. Oh, you didn't hear from Chief Magnus? Lady Juna was off inspecting the Mage Academy, and I was the flight's helmsman. It knocked me on my arse when Lady Juna left Louise's company, you know? I left right after she did. Anyway, still undecided about you being king and all that, but I do appreciate you taking me in, so I'm going to work to repay that favor. On that note, about time I get back to work. Oh, don't tell the chief I was shooting the breeze here, eh, Your Majesty? There's a good time these guys left after I bashed them over the head a bit, if you know what I mean. Because they'd have all been humans. Your Majesty, it has been some time since you graced us with your presence. What style of igniter may I help you with this time? I jest. I know that's not why you are here. As you can see, it is thanks to you that the Lyco and Magic Association has been able to continue its business. Our king has shown us what magic ought to be. Humans and other threats still stalk the land, so igniters and their powers have remained an indispensable asset in maintaining the country. All this talk of original magic that doesn't rely on igniters, it's going to take some time to make it viable.
Come again.
We'll continue to produce igniters with pride, helping to bridge this era with the next. Hello, Brigitte. The king himself out browsing the shops. Perhaps I need to draft up a royal certificate of appointment. Tell the world we supply goods to the royal family. Any recommendations? One igniter in particular, in fact, though I'm afraid we're all sold out of it at the moment. The igniter I made at the children's request, the one that lights up with rainbow colours, is selling startlingly well. The store is packed with families and children. I now hold a position where I control the distribution of all manner of goods throughout the kingdom as the head of the Igniter Consortium. I can't help but think that if I had been in this position sooner than the church's violence, the tragedy of that village could have been prevented. It wasn't your fault, though.
But
There was nothing you could have done at the time, Brigitte. I know that. I only rose to this position once you became king and shed light on what lurked in the shadows of this country. Though you can't take full credit, as it were, I was nominated for my new position by my colleagues. Our new king has changed this country for the better. However, as a former arms dealer, it would be naive to think all weapons can ever disappear from this world.
Yet.
It's all the more reason I hope that the reasons for people to wield them continue to decline. To that end, I'll continue doing all that I possibly can with all that I am, just as you do.
Speaking of.
Yes, do you remember my dog? I found the ones who took her. Naturally, I considered ending their lives, but there she was sitting beside them. Evidently, they could not bring themselves to harm such a sweet creature, so they decided to keep her instead. I had no choice but to spare their lives. I couldn't subject a gentle dog to the atrocities I committed in her name. You should come play with her sometime. I'm sure she remembers you. I'll do what I can as your ally.
boy, there.
Hey, Mr. Driver, how long until we depart? I'm bloody eager to get a move on. First Oceana, then Montario. My cross-country trip starts now. A new chapter in my life.
I may.
Not to ruin your fun, but this carriage doesn't go that far. You know that, right?
Oi.
After all that fuss across the kingdom, the one who ended up on the throne was the bloody heir after all. Oh, the irony. He had the strength to take down Luis, I'll give him that, but in the end, I guess blood's all that ever matters. He was only a viable choice of the lot. Who knows if he'll be a decent king? Suppose that all depends on what he does next. King didn't even know I existed. What hell of a gamble part of the gamble, wasn't it?
What am I to do?
This is not the conclusion we wished for. Now that we've lost our leader in the church, what's to become of our lifestyle? We're gonna bear it for now. This king's as much a dreamer as the last. He'll be crushed under the weight of his lofty ideals soon enough. I'm sure of it.
Wonderful.
May God
All
keep
right.
You surveying the city incognito, Your Majesty? Your escorts would be aghast. Not that I think anyone is truly capable of harming you. As you are aware, faith in the Sanctus Church plummeted after our misdeeds were exposed. I admit we were arrogant and unjust, wicked in custom, but people have found salvation through the church as well. I intend to restore the Sanctus Church to its true purpose, to offer salvation to those in need. As Sanctiarch, and as someone who was saved by the Sanctus faith myself, that is all I can do to return the favor.
May God keep your child.
Not a bad man, is he? And Denny's outside too, that's interesting.
Hey.
Hello there, Your Majesty. It's great to see you're doing as well as ever. I've just left a meeting with the provincial lords. I also preach the Mystaric teachings in various areas when the opportunity arises. Many still push back against such teachings, but that's perfectly fine. A country is well served by different perspectives. Many of the villagers have come around to this too, you know. I think that's because you all face such danger on our behalf. Still, it won't be easy to change the entirety of Euconia. Its history is embedded deep in its roots. The country is larger, and some people will need all the power you have. True test of your values has only just begun.
Aha!
Closure, eh?
Just recently, a sanctuary in Brawlhaven was brought to judgment. His crime? Using Parapus subjects for atrocious Igniter experiments. The church reaffirms its dedication to cracking down on inhumane acts such as these. Wow, the church is actually owning up to its scandals. The town criers around here sure have changed. No, they're just trying to put on a good show for the new king. Doing things like they always have would have only sent him spiraling further. Batlin.
Oh.
Well, hello there, Your Majesty. Hello there. As laid back as ever, I see. I myself have been crying like a baby, for I find my position as Chairman of Parliament quite an unfamiliar one. Oh, okay, your Speaker. Still, I've considered these open to all parliamentary meetings. Compiling all those opinions is indeed hard work. Wow, you're going so fast, buddy. Still, I've considered these open to all parliamentary meetings. Compiling all those opinions is indeed hard work, but work well worth doing. It won't be easy for those who are at the church's beck and call to change, but I think they've been starting to see what they turned a blind eye to it. At least a bit, no? A person who speaks the real truth to the public without yielding to authority, that's what my father and I wished for. A true and proper town crier. This country's turned over a new relief, but there are still many problems to work out. It seems the rural regions are still suffering from human havoc.
Counting on you.
All I'm saying is we're a long way from utopia, but still the first step is as important as the last, and we're taking big ones. Utopia is unachievable. Better.
How about a fortune?
Oh my, has His Majesty come to have his fortune done? I jest, of course. I believe you've become quite acquainted with the Chief of Etrelia. I was able to speak with him for just a moment. He's a truly outstanding figure in both ability and insight. As a fortune teller, I still have much to learn. Yeah, you could change the weather, man. You could change the weather. Big bro's keeping watch.
Greetings.
Working hard as ever, Will. Were you going about town and listening to what the people have to say? Myself, I've just come from the Crown Court, where I've been consulting with the people about their grievances and disputes as Chief Magistrate. Oh, interesting. Our court has the time for that? Our court is taking on common grievances.
Yes, of course.
In the past, we were busy with cases of violence and theft, but those have decreased remarkably.
In truth.
As you're undoubtedly aware, in the past, many citizens were sentenced to hang without so much as a trial.
Alas.
I'm pleased to report things are different now. Anyone, regardless of race or status, can tell their side of the story in court and be judged equally and fairly. It just goes to show anything is possible, even for a priestess to become a chief magistrate. And my brother is making great strides as village chief. He rather hated the role before, but he's truly found his calling, I think.
The reason is.
As I said, no one knows what the future holds. It's all the more reason I try to guide people to good choices. I want to live in a society that practices kindness, where those who suffer need not turn to crime, and so I practice what I preach.
Now that you mention
The other day I went to visit Ovi's church to inquire with those who were sick there about how the kingdom can be more accessible to them. Was Ovi doing well?
Very well.
Yes, we practiced dancing together. Then we showed her mother. All of them are ready to ease into work again. Hearing them made me reflect on all the people who still need our help. Till now, the only help those people had was God.
I do believe.
I want to fight for them to have options under laws and systems that they can rely on in addition to higher power. A country where all the tribes with all their values can join hands in harmony. That's what we need.
Because
You aim to achieve that too, yes, Your Majesty? I hope you'll allow me to keep walking alongside you in this. Hand in hand?
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Eat this and pickle.
Right. This is a big sweep for an epilogue. But there is more to do. The final location. It's Old Man Goddard.
Right.
Well, if it isn't Your Majesty, it's been a year since you ascended the throne, and a quick one at that. It feels like the strife with Luis was but a bad dream. Had you asked me then, I would have been wringing my hands about one so young leading the kingdom, but now I'm embarrassed to have fought it. You had a keen eye to recognize the danger Luis posed, and a braver still to have fought him. You had a kingly caliber I never truly possessed. Still, a single year is but a drop in the proverbial bucket. Stay vigilant, King. Don't let my guard down. Oh, Your Majesty, it's been quite some time since we've met, but I've never forgotten you. You were a young elder about town from the recruitment center to the mausoleum. I watched from the shadows. There are still times where people hurl abuse on me for being Mastari. However, thanks to Your Majesty, I can run my business with pride. Just goes to show that it's going to take time to eliminate prejudice like that. We've got to keep at it.
My oh my.
Pardon.
That's something.
What an unexpected coincidence, Your Majesty. No guards with you today? Don't worry, I'm no tattletale. I myself just left a meeting going over how the provincial governments are doing. We convene for the new year. How are things in Martyr?
So.
Oh, it's as lively as it used to be, and we owe it all to you, Your Majesty. That dodgy mess you cleaned up for us feels like ancient history now. And I'm pleased to report, as head of the provincial lords, it's nothing but good news reaching my ears. Oh, head! Better relations between towns has employment up and overall welfare too. Each town has specialities and wisdom to offer. When we combine our heads, there's no problem we can't solve. I just feel so blessed to be part of it. I know I made some blunders when I first stepped into the governor's role, but I'm happy to share my failings so others don't repeat my mistakes. So things are all right now?
But of course.
Indeed they are. The townspeople play an active role in policy and administration, and I'm not bearing that weight alone. Of course, some lords are like I was once, and would rather manage things at their sole discretion and leave things to the people. And yes, taking every matter to public opinion can be laborious, what with all the proceedings and disputes.
Then again.
Still, changing our own lives with our own hands makes the process worth the trouble.
Brilliant.
And choosing a king of our own will was all the inspiration we needed for change.
lovely that.
Yeah. Oh, we can still go in here. He's basically, I think like Martyra is basically the trialing ground for all future governmental exercises, or the building of government in like the kingdom as a whole, isn't it? Martyra is our
Alright then.
teaching area. Our reference. Oh, Your Majesty. It's an honor. I've only recently been assigned my post here at the recruitment center, so... Actually, I was sorting through enlistment records from 2 years ago, and was surprised to find a certain signature. That's right, Your Majesty's signature, and General Stroll's as well, U.S. General. I was quite surprised to discover that the two of you had met here. To think that they deploy the future king in the army. Horrifying. Why not? It's not exactly terribly bad. I mean, me having done normal jobs and actually seen the thing probably makes me a little bit better to be able to lead that side of things. And give instruction to, or give orders to, because I know what we're losing and I know what we're risking. But equally, me being in it shouldn't make me a better candidate either. I hate how that sometimes is a thing in, like, countries' governments. Oh, you were in the army, that means you can be a...
Uh-huh.
But not many bounties for you, Your Majesty. We've been at peace for a while thanks to you, and we're dealing with things one step at a time.
Uh-huh.
Okay then.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Even like our royals have to like serve somewhere, don't they?
Alright then.
You know, in a kind of for show role.
Lovely that.
They never see front lines when anything is going on. But they will do stuff like be helicopter pirates. But then some people are like, maybe that's privilege taking place, you know?
Uh-huh.
Oh, Your Majesty, it's already been a year since you've ascended to the throne, and 1 year since I lost my bid for it. Thinking back, I have no regrets. I'd not have been able to defeat Luis in the end, as you did. I mean, that's for sure. It would have been impossible for me and for any of the other candidates, if we're honest. I've come to believe in your power, your majesty. In you power. Though I'll not acquiesce on all fronts, you know. You needn't look further than your 6 partisans, your merry little band. I can appreciate your faith in your inner circle, but to award them all your key posts, why, one might suspect you of collusion. A country requires views from all walks of life, or put another way, why not appoint me your prime minister? With my guidance, Ukraine would become a land of true beauty. Just when you think he's about to make a decent point, he plays his own angle. Don't let your guard down around that guy. Yeah, he's crap. I probably put them in not just because they're my friends, but because they all have different perspectives. They all meant something to their various races and roles, and I knew they'd be good for the job, plus I knew they wouldn't be yes men and they would tell me when I'm being wrong. Because I know them, but, yeah. Like, I really don't think Baz would have an issue chewing me out. I don't think Heismay would have an issue chewing me out. I don't think Yufa would have an issue chewing me out. Hulkenberg and Stroll, maybe? Maybe them? Juna wouldn't. No, Juna wouldn't either. Oh. Well, it isn't His Majesty. The captain of the Royal Guard was looking for you. As a former guard captain of the Charadrius, perhaps I should report your whereabouts. Why are you here? No, I can't deny that. Just giving you a hard time. It can be hard to shake old habits, despite the fact that I'm Captain Salver of the State Army now. I parted ways with Louis shortly before his run made for the Skyborn Royal Palace. When I saw the horror that Zorba had become, I knew the world he wanted was no world of mine. I thought I'd found my place within Luis's private forces after being disgusted by the shameless corruption of the Royal Army, but his true intentions were worse than I can imagine. It was the General who pulled me back in. He said my experience leading a force of mixed tribes would be valuable. I'd only taken the job in hopes of atoning, so it's a strange twist. To sow with pride in the State Army I once so detested. Still, I wonder why he bothered with us. Oh, you actually got taken into the main stuff. You didn't end up with the rest of them. I think Stroll and Hulkenberg would be more polite about it, yeah.
Hello.
Ah, Your Majesty, it's an honor to meet you at this most auspicious time of year. I know I was quite devoted to Luis at one point. His power was both overwhelming and alluring. You're a twonk. I was annoyed by you, generally. So where do you stand now? I'm disgusted by my shallowness, if I'm honest. It's hardly an atonement, but I'll at least try to be straight with you from now on. Not to bring down the mood, but I wanted to mention. I sensed something familiar among your supporters. I recognize it because I was the same way. In their eyes, you're a hero who conquered the monstrous Luis. They entrusted you with authority because of your power and their desire to be at peace. Indeed. Let us assume that the people have expectations not of your ideology, but solely of your power. King or not, failing to see the difference may invite consequences, indeed. Please take it from someone who erred in his ways. The people of this country have not recovered from the unrest, and when they do, there will be more unrest. Because when people, they'll feel emboldened, empowered. The king hasn't exercised that overwhelming power. Maybe we can push the boundaries a little bit more. It makes sense what he's saying.
Hey, mister.
Even though Luis died, my dad still isn't happy. It's because my mum died and she can't come back. But you know, Mr. King, I've been cooking instead of my mum and I'm trying really hard. I'm happy to be with my dad, so next year I'm going to work harder than ever. My mum is watching me from the sky, isn't she? Just like your dad, Mr. King.
Stupendous.
Yes. Yes, kiddo.
Hiya.
I get shivers hearing stories from when the castle was floating in the sky. The place was teeming with crystals and monsters. It was no place for man to enter, no sir. I heard that when the palace came back down, all the monsters had been dried out like they were statues made of dirt. Rebuilding the place went faster than expected, and I hear they recouped some costs by selling the furnishings inside. Seems like a miracle, doesn't it?
Hiya.
Good. So we didn't do it via taxation directly. We actually got rid of some of the trappings.
What'll I do?
Luis was crazy. I learned that firsthand, but the country before, it was riddled with mistakes. I'd like to think that the new king already knows, but frankly, I don't think much has changed in the last year. King or not, he's not that old. I'm sure he's doing his best, but in the end, he's just the old king's son. I don't expect very much of him. Get. Ooh.
Oh, there.
So tomorrow's finally the day. You finished your preparations? Our journey to the Mage Academy in Montario will be quite long. Yes, but why are you taking me as your traveling companion? You saw how much I admired Luis, how hostile I was to our faith. Everyone said foolish things. Faced with national crisis, we clung to power instead of trying to use our power to solve it. Times have changed. The Mage Academy now opens its doors to anyone. No harm will come to those who want to learn there, but alas, my youth has fled me. So I'll use my wealth to ensure others can reach it. Take what you learn there and spread it throughout the kingdom, far and wide. How many more people do we have to speak to? There's 2 next to each other.
Very good.
It's Katharina.
You there?
Fancy a chat?
Well, if it isn't your majesty. Hello there. Even I don't have the pluck to try selling water to the king. Especially considering sales are up. We've got customers from across the tribes now. Although I'm guessing people were just avoiding a Parappa's own shop before. Probably. Yeah, it's complicated.
Hi there.
Oh, well, if it ain't the big man himself. Good timing, mate. I just got back into town myself. Long time no see.
Oh, right.
Ain't it been? I've been out traveling since I took the reins on the Seekers Recon team. Hard to believe it's been half a year. Crazy doesn't begin to describe what's beyond the sea. The sights, the magic. Everything's so fantastic, I'm already itching to get back out there. Well, I'm not especially keen on dodging the bloody cannonballs when my ship gets too close. Lots of tension out there, but what country isn't a little tense? Everything from the customs to the way they think is so different. My head spins. Makes all the tribal bickering seem right dull, if I can speak my mind. This country's changing for the better. I'm glad I turned over the throne to you. Appreciate it.
Hold on.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Oh, come on, I'm just roasting you. After we knocked heads, I knew I could trust you with making the lives of us Parappas better than they was. All my cohort have found jobs, and some of them have even picked up new skills from being out at sea so long.
See you soon, I hope.
Don't you worry your kingly head. I'll have it all whipped up in a report for you. Do something proper kingish with it, yeah? The world's a crazy place out there. They're randomly shooting there with cannonballs.
Welcome.
Oh, your majesty, I was wondering who you might be. I see you're still fond of wandering these parts like always. I get it though, I do love the night market myself. Until last year, that is. Then I began to hate it, no thanks to Luis. It was truly a terrible situation all around. And yet somehow things have recovered. And I have high hopes they'll be better than ever.
Oh, grab.
Says stalls are only going to get better from here. I always said things for a second, like quickly checking it out, but... Stalls will only get better. That's an annoying campaign song. You still... are things really alright now? You've been like this for a year? Am I alive after all that's happened? Yes, you are. It's been a year. We came out of it okay. This is like...
Watch that.
We've both been through a lot of terrible things, but we will overcome them one by one. Do they have therapy in this world? Yes. Man needs it if he's still like this a year later. That's some severe trauma.
Become a proper kingdom now, isn't it?
Russell, you're here! Oh, Gallica, and your highness as well. Ah, but that's no longer your title, is it? Excuse my impertinence, your majesty. Still, knowing that the New Year's celebrations were just around the corner, I couldn't resist returning to the capital to see how the kingdom was faring. It's been kind to you? Indeed, I need only look upon their smiling faces to see that the city feels alive again, and it seems as though the citizens are free to choose their own paths. I must say, I never imagined that I'd return here without all the cloak and shadow. I owe a great deal to the work of Lady Juna. I think I'd be able to see Grand Trad, with His Highness sitting openly upon the throne. I'll say, are you seeing this as well?
Yep.
We've got a long way to go, but I know Grius will be watching. I should tell you, a sizable number of the villagers in the Sanctum have gained an interest in the outside world. I've been acting as sort of their bridge. It seems this doddering old fool has found a new role, to find the middle ground for both those who wish to preserve tradition and those who seek innovation.
Yep.
I couldn't think of a better man for the job, Russell. I'm sure you'll be great help to the village. I've also longed to save this country. But seeing all these smiling faces now, I think perhaps I'm the one being saved. This is a country that protects its people, and the people shape the country in turn. Surely that's the world His late Majesty wished to see. Not to simply chase the ideal of a utopia, but to shape it with our own hands. We have a long way to go, but I trust you'll continue to make this country stronger, Your Majesty. What to say, are they there? I haven't seen them.
Yeah?
Excuse me, aren't you an elder? Please don't take that the wrong way, I'm just curious. Ah. What about them? Oh, okay, you said something else, so I didn't get that. Those three elder too, aren't they? I wonder if perhaps you knew them or something. What about them? What do you mean, what about them? Isn't it kind of amazing to see Elder in town? That elderly lady in the middle is floating, for heaven's sake. Is it some sort of igniter? Couldn't be. Then how? Oh, and the other woman's clothes are so beautiful. Goes without saying, but you can't find clothes like that in Grand Trad, can you?
Should I do?
There's something just so incredibly charming about them. Do you think I should try talking to them? Yes.
Oh, there.
Oh, Your Majesty, I've heard from Fabienne, you know, about how you still take the time to pop into the honeybee now and then. That's not very kingly of you, but that's what makes you so trustworthy. Please do keep treating Fabienne and Maria well, for Grius' sake too.
Wonderful, isn't it?
Lady Grudet! Ah, it's been quite some time, hasn't it? Well, you've matured a great deal in the short year since I last saw you. Rumours of your rule have reached even the Sanctum. Some are kinder than others. Taking the reins of a runaway country must have its shares of difficulties. Your face tells me as much. The frail child who could do little more than lie on the brink of death has come so far. Goodness, tears come so easily with old age. I'm grateful for you. I did nothing. You're the one who achieved everything. I'm surprised to see you in Grand Trad, Lady Grudet. It's a curious thing. I received a rather forceful invitation here, you see. One of your friends, the girl named Juna. Goodness knows how many times she's already come to visit the Sanctum, seeking instruction on magic. Some of the villagers are rather smitten with her, I bet. She declared that if I wouldn't feel welcome coming to Grand Trad, she would have a highway built directly between the capital and the Sanctum. Oh, Juna, she probably would. So there you have it. Now then, Will, or rather, King Will. The 1,000-year seclusion of the Eldar tribe may soon come to an end under your guidance, and yet the journey ahead of you will be hard. The dreams you hope to achieve will feel just out of reach. So do stop by and show your face around our forest sometime. Your mother cannot do so herself, but I can whip up some of her favourite dishes in her spirit. Yeah, nice.
Wonderful, isn't it?
That's pretty nice, yeah. The guy who gave me stuff isn't out there.
I love it.
That guy loves it still.
Aha!
Oh, we're nearly done. I miss the days when the face rot was here. Never knew what to expect back then. Joy for one moment, miserable the next, remember? After Luis was defeated and the king decided. Indeed I do. Suddenly His Majesty's face clips the others for the briefest of moments, then it all crumbled away like sand. Over a bit too soon after all that palaver, I'd say. It's kind of grotesque. I liked his coronation speech, but I can't say he's accomplished much of any importance since then. It's only been a year! His strength certainly was incredible during the final battle in Grand Trad, but I wonder what people in other cities who didn't see that sight think of things. Either way, as long as next year is uneventful and peaceful, I'll consider it a win.
Grand, isn't it?
Keeping it like this is the win. That's correct, to be fair.
Say there.
Wow, look at those shoulder pads there, Stroll. You got a bit taller as well. I mean, I was always a bit short.
Hey.
Skulking about the city again, are we? Which is to say Hulkenberg is on the hunt, the classic game of cat and mouse, though who is which I dare not say. It's been a year since you ascended the throne, but it's like you've hardly changed. I can say the same with you. You haven't changed much either, Stroll. That's Lord or General Stroll, Your Majesty. I'll never get used to such titles. I really should take a page from Juna's book. She has a gift for delegating, like she was born to do so. Not that I can talk, I actually came out for a bit of a breather myself.
So.
You know, I see now that even those at the top have their struggles a little too clearly. A general's duties feel overwhelming at times. There are lives hanging in the balance. I recognize the weight of every decision I make, and I do find satisfaction in protecting those lives. Remember our first meeting back at the recruitment center? I, a fallen noble with nothing to my name, and you a struggling Eldar traveler? Back then, my only goal was getting ahead. My people were little more than an afterthought. If I hadn't met you, I'd have never realized the truth about my fortune, my father's intentions, and I certainly couldn't have saved the Hellions.
Thank you.
I owe seeing the joy in their faces to you. I think I've said it before, but again, thank you. And give yourself some credit.
That's...
You need to give yourself some credit, Stroll.
No.
I would still owe any credit I could take to you for showing me the way. They live stable, peaceful lives thanks to you.
Hey.
You've a whole country on your shoulders now. The road ahead will be full of challenges we can't possibly foresee. Show me the way and I'll blaze the trail. Now and always, it's my role as a warrior to be the vanguard.
That's why.
Our title may have changed, but I'd like to think our friendship is steadfast as ever. Don't hesitate to rely on me now and always.
Say there.
Fancy man, fancy man. He's so fancy. We learned how brittle peace is, as well as the preciousness of a life lost. The peace we've regained could be lost again. We must remain vigilant.